Welcome to your Marks Max Muscles Amateur Grand Prix. Notice how I say that. Prix. Make it fancy. This is the semi-final matchup in this tournament. Marko Savolainen takes on Victor Richards. Look at these two big bulls. I've been sitting at work all day, just thinking and wishing that I could get home and do this matchup. What an exciting, just fantastic contest this is going to be. Unfortunately, we're starting with a little bit of a bummer here. This is not a proper front relaxed position at all for Victor Richards. He's holding his head down. It's hard to get the sizes correctly. He is an inch taller than Marko, but one is safe to assume that if he raised his head up, he would be a little bit taller, but this is pretty much a write-off. This is him backstage. He's not even flexing. If you're unfamiliar with my last match that I had with Richards, boom, I showed this here. We've all been duped. This is actually Aaron Baker. And it was none other than Muscle Mutant, his bodybuilding channel. Let us in on that information. So if you've ever thought that was Victor Richards, you've been duped. I was duped. So I tried to use this one here, but nothing doing. It's too impossible to get the sizes correctly, so an inconclusive on the front relaxed position. And yes, the front lat spread. As always, I am going to complain about the camera angle in the picture of Marko Savolainen. Anytime I use this one, I make mention of that. The camera is too low. It makes those lats look just super filled out, like a bodybuilder's dream. Now, even in this comparison, Victor Richards, he's very young here, earlier on in his career. So it's a little bit unfair that way. And plus the camera angle, but still Richards with that vacuum, he looks awesome. But I mean, look at the legs on Marko Savolainen. So I think for this one, we're going to rely on, boom, these two pictures, which are, of course, photo shoots. But it's safe to say that Marko Savolainen, he really did have just an unreal front lat spread. This is truly just remarkable. This is Dorian-esque for sure. So, Marko Savolainen picks up the first point in this contest. And now we move on to the side chest. This is just unreal. These are two of the most large, just muscle-bound bodybuilders of all time. Marko Savolainen, in my opinion now, is winning this one, quite handily, I might add. Now, yes, Victor is very imposing with that big bicep. Look at the size of that big ham hock. I'm telling you. But, Marko, look at the delts. Look at the pecs even. Those triceps are massive as well. I just think his conditioning is that much tighter, along with that just unreal physique. Both of these gentlemen, these are truly two of the greatest creatures that God ever created. Or if you believe in God, I don't mean to get religious. I'm just saying they're awesome, these two big beasts. Unfortunately, this is a little bit controversial. There is this side tricep of Marko Savolainen. And it is game day, and I do not see a side tricep for one Victor Richards. This is the semifinals, guys. We have to be strict. Marko Savolainen gets another very, very crucial point. And now we have entered this portion of the matchup, the back developments. These guys are making a very awesome matchup. Both guys have a case for a win in this one. Look at those traps on both guys, but in particular the lower traps on Victor Richards. Look how low they come down. Very impressive, like two big pillars. But here's the thing. Marko Savolainen, his traps are very impressive too, in particular on the top of them. Two big mountain pillars. But not only that. Look at the glutes and the hamstrings. The conditioning, it's too much. There's too much difference between these guys in the conditioning department. Victor Richards always carried a little bit of water, quite a bit of water, actually. Never really could get contest-ready condition. But no disrespect meant to this man. It looks like this matchup is going the way of Marko Savolainen. Each point crucial, and I must admit I am somewhat disappointed in the performance of this Victor Richards. I am sorry, Victor, but you are just outclassed by Marko Savolainen. The more I look, yes, Victor Richards, he does look very impressive. Look at the width of those upper lats. Very impressive indeed. But stick him next to this Marko Savolainen, and not quite so much. Once again, I reiterate on the glutes and the hamstrings. Conditioning, just untouchable in this match. Marko Savolainen, look at that Christmas tree. One of the greatest rear double buys of all time. Now, if you can get past the whole Synthel in the arms thing, which I'm not sure is Synthel in those arms. They just look like big, freaky, peaky, bisexual areas. Biceps, not bisexuals. I don't know what bisexuals are, but if they did exist, Marko Savolainen would have them, and they'd be attached to those arms. Look at the size of those things. But let's go back to the back itself. Unreal. This is 3 dreams wrapped in 4 blankets. Or no, a dream wrapped in a blanket. That's like a handsome man. This is just a piece of machinery. Unreal. Marko Savolainen is steamrolling right over top of Victor Richards. And I must say, once again, I'm a little bit disappointed. I thought this matchup was going to be a neck-and-neck battle. Speaking of necks, neither of these two guys has one in this pose. Victor Richards, he's losing this one severely. He is massive, yes, but so very soft. Marko Savolainen like boulders. Now, of course, there is this one here of Victor Richards, a little bit more fair. It is a photo shoot, of course, and see how much smaller he got when he gets conditioned. Now, that leads me to believe that if he did get into real good contest shape, he would lose a lot of that size. Hard to say. He would have eventually found a good formula, I believe. I'm kind of beating around the bush. This one is close here. Taking into consideration this is a contest-ready pitcher of Marko. And he does look better in the delts and perhaps the pecs as well. I mean, this is a landslide victory, of course, for Marko Savolainen, of course. There's just no way that Victor could ever come back from the deficit. Let's have a look at the ab and thigh, shall we? And I guess we shall. This is, of course, not the proper way to hit this pose for Victor Richards, but you know what? I kind of like it. Look at how small his waist is compared to those big, massive thighs. And he does look fair, decent condition for Victor Richards, that is. Marko Savolainen, he is hitting this pretty good to a tee, and he has been in better condition. I don't know, is it even worth making a bad call in this one? This matchup is all over. Victor Richards has lost. Should I give him this one for a point? I like the style. I like his style in this pose. I really do. Good style indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for the final pose? Boom, here we go. These are 2 of the finest front double bicep poses in the history of the sport. Marko Savolainen, obviously, with the advantage in the biceps, the arms, unreal. Victor Richards with the absolute edge in that torso heap. Look at that vacuum, and you can see the abs still. That's a very rare trait. Lower lats in Marko's favor. Look at the big old lags on Marko as well. Better condition. That is probably because Victor is just a boy here. This is a very, very old pitcher. He's a young man here. He grew massive, much more massive. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this one here. This is a photo shoot, of course. But man, just behold these 2 impressive creatures. Hard one to judge. Absolutely a hard one to judge. This time, Victor is no small potatoes in the lag department. Winning in that department, in my opinion. Look at those big, giant, thick pads. Now again, those biceps of Marko, very hard to beat. Victor's arms are very complete. Very impressive indeed. I don't know. I almost like Victor's aesthetically, but look at those guns. Is there such thing as biceps being too big? I don't know. I'm almost deducting Marko here. I'm going to give this one to Victor. Maybe a little bit of a political point here, a gift perhaps. Either way, it's all she wrote for Victor Richards. Night-night. And so it is written. Marko Savolainen advances on to the final matchup. And there's your main event. Jeff King versus Marko Savolainen. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. Probably a very difficult one to judge as well. I am very sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this matchup took a lot longer than I thought. But I thought it was exciting, so I don't think any of you guys are going to mind. I expect a pretty good response for this one, actually. Expect more views than my average videos get. But here's hoping. Either way, it may put me on the map. Mark's Max Muscle's the name, don't forget. And maybe if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. It helps me a great deal. I really hope you enjoyed this matchup, and I hope you check out the main event. It promises to be a great matchup. Have a great day.